Oh, well, hello. Welcome to episode 15 of Kitfox's Drawing Law stream, where I talk about answer questions that people have about my comic stuff and draw some stuff that people want me to draw. So we'll see how it goes. It was a bit of a late notice one this stream, but the questions were kind of piling up, so I thought I'd do it. But if we haven't got too many people in, then we'll just have a short one and then do it some other time. But yeah, welcome everyone who's here so far. Looks like Mordak, welcome. Zatali, hello. And we'll see what else we got coming in. Oh, hey, Shrub. How's it going? Great to see you. Glad you can make it. Um, but yeah, on the screen here, of course, we've got the tragic news of the passing of Akira Toriyama, who, if you're doing art sort of in the years when I was sort of formatively learning to do stuff, kind of in the 90s, early 2000s, I guess right up until now, it's pretty hard to avoid the influence of the person who brought us Dragon Ball Z and Chrono Trigger and all that good stuff. So I think on Patreon I'll start putting up some of my art from when I was in about grade 10 or so, and it's very obvious that a lot of that was pretty heavily inspired. So this is a kit, by the way, just in case it's not super clear. I wanted to try to draw him in like a kind of Akira Toriyama style, but it ended up just looking like a more like a Go Nagai character, kind of like a Get a Robo kind of dude. But that's probably just because of the sideburns. It's hard to get away from that. Anyway, how y'all been? Just I'll check out chat in a bit, and then we'll get into some questions. And yeah, I'll get into the Discord questions that have been put up there in the supporter chat. Probably first, and then I'll pick a few things from there to do. But if anyone has something they'd like to see me do in the chat, I'll probably prioritize that for you guys who bothered to show up. So yeah, we'll get this out of here. Oh, whoops, I forgot to add in my blank white layer for the bottom. And we'll get up here and add another one in up there. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't do the troubleshooting. If I didn't do that, I'll probably look back in chat 50 minutes from now and realize the sound wasn't on. Is everything going all right? Keep it up. Yes, happy St. Patrick's Day, T or whatever. And yeah, I also forgot it was St. Patrick's Day. I'm already, I guess in the spirit, I'm already so drunk that I'm forgetting when things happening. Oops. Already forgot I was on the wrong layer. Okay, turn this one off. Yeah, I mean, not like St. Patrick's Day is an actual holiday down here or anything, but, always an excuse to wear a big green hat and drink stuff is welcome. So I'll just jump over to. Oh yeah, I hope to see. Oh, welcome SC Pilot. I hope to see Seed, Bray, and Steel having a St. Patrick's Day drinking contest. All right, St. Patrick's Day shrub is Island something. Drink a lot Guinness and four leaf clovers. That's pretty much all I kind of know. St. Patrick is the patron saint of Ireland, though, and part of the Union Jack's cross is the St. Patrick's cross. But it's become synonymous with wearing green, wearing a top hat, and Lucky Charms and whatever. All right, so Steel. Well, okay, there's a little bit of a problem with. Okay, Seed, Bray, and Steel having a drinking contest. Two of those people are underage. Oh, but it's animal rules, so whatever. Steel's a robot, so it doesn't really matter. Seed is like 1 year old, and Bray is like, I guess in the current comic he's about 10. Still not great, but he's a technologically empowered super creature or whatever. And animals have whatever different rules. So let's start that. Okay, St. Patrick's Day. So that would Steel. I haven't drawn him for ages. Um, Gonna run into that problem again of that quite a bit of a size difference between these guys. So we'll see. I'll just fudge it. I'll do some Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings movie filming shenanigans to kind of cheat it a little bit. Feel like he's got no hassle at all. Even if he wasn't a robot, he'd probably still be having a pretty good chance at this thing. Okay. Speaking of your formative years being in the 90s, hairstyles are very much inspired by that era for steel. Oh goodness, that's more. So steel, by the way, oh that's terrible. God, it's been a while since I've done one of these things. Okay. Let's start that again. So he's got kind of, I would look up a reference for my own thing, but I'm lazy. So it comes like that. He's got like a few different kind of styles of like 90s hair all kind of working together. Yeah, actually, too usual thing. I'll get into a question in a second. And he did used to have like long hair at the back, but now it kind of does sort of this. There's like about 50 different ways that it works. I did make a steel 3D model just to see if it actually would work, and weirdly it kind of does, but it is a little strange. Okay, so he's like this, and then yeah, I'll get into it. Get some questions. So let's go to Discord and have a look at the questions. How do I navigate this? Okay. Questions. All right, I'll just start at the top. I'm probably gonna skip the ones that are a little lecherous. I'll just answer them real quick. All right. Did Emperor Shoal ever? By the way, if you haven't sort of been reading the comics or anything, this is not going to make a lot of sense, but that's how it is. Did Emperor Shoal ever have a harem? No. He kind of became a little bit beyond that sort of thing when he became sort of omnipotent and super long-lived, and you know he had different things that he was sort of more worried about. So what's next? So these are Armored Heroes questions. Do animals like rats and mice use their tails to flirt with? Sure, why not? Question, I noticed that striders are used in pretty much all of my settings. Any reason for that? Yeah, there's probably a few reasons for that. So the striders being the kind of the ships, the kind of mecha that it's pretty much in every single comic, and they all look kind of the same, although they're sort of different in they sort of have lots of iterations, and they kind of appropriate more to the setting. I think Steel would be a bit more sassy about this. So the Striders are like a kind of bipedal, kind of hunched over mechs that they're sort of around. They're kind of not really like the focus of the story, but they'll be like the technology that exists allows for usually gravity powered, usually have some sort of like energy weapon that's based on like high velocity projectiles. And yeah, they're pretty much everywhere. Like going back to the crossover stuff, some of the stuff I put up on Patreon from like when I was in grade 7 and 8, they were already in there. So they started off kind of looking like this. And I guess the one of the reasons why they're in every comic is just that's kind of like a through line or like a nostalgic kind of thing I like to put in there. So they're originally like this, and the original kind of design idea came from Star Wars, because through my primary school I always loved Star Trek, and my friend always loved Star Wars, and we usually had like some like debates and things about that. But then I eventually sort of got won over a little bit towards Star Wars, and then when I got into that, my favorite ship, and that was that Tidarian shuttle. Sorry, the Lambda class shuttle, the one that's kind of like this, that has the wings like this, and it sort of goes like that. So I was like obsessed with that ship. So I kind of took that sort of folding up wing idea and like made the strider thing. So originally the wings were flat like this, and they would like fold up onto the side and then kind of be up like that, and the legs would come out the bottom and they'd be like this. There's like their first iteration, and yeah, when the wings are up like that, the arms would sort of fold down like that. So yeah, they've sort of been around since I started doing stuff. The first, it wasn't a comic; it was a story that I was doing was called the Copper Conductor, which I was in grade six, and I thought it was like incredibly clever. But that was like where the first Strider was in, and then ever since then, I've always been into mechs and stuff, and especially like this type, which originally comes from Robotech, which I would watch as a kid. Where's the sort of the Regalt battle pods, the kind of the ones that look a bit like this, and they have the little body and like the legs that kind of go like that. I was like, yeah, really into like this kind of design. Oh, they got like big guns up here and little guns down there and little guns back here. But yeah, this sort of thing with like a body and the legs going backwards like that, I kind of just really like that design. And of course, like the Gerwalk mode for the Valkyries or the Veritex, whether you're watching Macross or Robotech, how like their Guardian mode, which would be like half plane, half like humanoid robot, kind of like this. So yeah, they sort of the designs sort of came from a combination of all that stuff. And then once I sort of started putting them into comics, they were kind of just like a comfort thing, I guess. So let me just get rid of all of that. Actually, that'll be just like a messy nonsense that I can put on. I'll just cut that and put it on a different frame. I'm gonna cut off a little bit of his hair if I do that. So there we go. Edit cut, and then just chuck another layer in here. Edit paste, and put that on there. And Control D. So yeah, the reason there's half comfort because yeah, the Zeta's always been around, and yeah, they usually fit most of the time. Like generally, I'll be doing like some sort of sci-fi sort of world. Like I do like fantasy a lot, but I've got sort of a problem with magic. Like I like it in other people's stuff. I think I might have talked about this before, but I just like I need my stuff to have rules, and like I know magic can have rules. What is going on here? Did I set a shortcut to be a eraser on the back of there. Why has that changed? Oh well, later. But yeah, because I don't really like magic too much in my own. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what's going on. Right. Oh my goodness. All right. What have I done? Okay, let's just combine all this stuff together. Merge down. Don't know how like I made an extra layer like that. Probably just happened when I copied it. Okay, now we should be. That's better. All right. Yeah. Because my stories tend to be sci-fi because I like things to have like definitive like basis in reality, and I like other stories with magic as long as it kind of makes sense and there's like rules they follow. But I just sort of can't. I can't handle like not explaining things. Like if I was gonna have a magical thing, I'd need to like be like, but how like it can't just come from nothing. It has to be like something. So even if it's like a magical thing, like a lot of the stuff I do is kind of magical, it is still like a scientific like basis for a thing. So because of that, most of my stories tend to be like sci-fi ones, even if they don't sort of seem like it. And yeah, so because of that, there's usually like a good avenue for having the striders in there. So I generally will. And the other thing is that I'm kind of lazy. And if you've ever tried to like design a mech, it's kind of difficult. And once you've sort of got a pre-established like thing that sort of is in your mind, even if you're going to change it a little bit, just having like a basis that you're comfortable with to just like kind of rely on that sort of shape, and like a lot of the things in all the iterations kind of stay the same. So it's just like I can just sort of go on autopilot basically. I guess I didn't do that in the Industrial Revelation story where they had like the kind of steam powered mechs and they were pretty much all bipedal. We didn't really have striders in that one. But yeah, that's kind of why that is. One, because I've just always had them, and like at this point, it kind of feels weird to not. And also, yeah, they're sort of easy because I have drawn them so many times, I don't really have to think about it when I'm drawing a comic. What am I doing? Why would Steel have this much clothes? He needs a top hat, but I forgot about his usual attire. Oh, he sometimes has a shirt, but it's going to be open, of course. Okay. Green shirt. Sorry, I haven't had like a gigantic coffee, so I'm just like buzzing a bit. I'm just like frantically changing between lines and everything. I'll probably calm down at some point. Okay, there we go. Color. Sort of collar adjacent. Okay, there we go. So there's one, and I'll jump back into another question here in a second. Is chocolate still poisonous to many animals? Yeah, that wouldn't have changed. That's a quick one there. A diffuser is a type of laser, and if so, do they not function at full strength in rain or fog? I think I explained this like a couple of times, and in the comment in the on Discord, I think maybe at some point, or I think it was answered by Mordak. But essentially, they're not lasers. They are lasers, kind of. What they are is just, yeah, super real quick. They accelerate a stream of like microscopic particles to light speed and then like eject them out. So the red beam you see is the beam of particles interacting with the atmosphere. And when they touch anything, it kind of just slices straight through. Becomes like a very localized kind of plasma sort of thing. So they would get diffused, so to speak, a little bit by rain and fog. You don't really tend to see them in the rain very much, but yeah, that would definitely mess them up to some extent, but not hugely. They can travel through rain and fog. They get diminished a little bit. They can travel through like smoke, and they can even go into space. Although again, like it's massively diminished when they travel outside the atmosphere because the heat just gets reduced so quickly. That's why Shoal had to overpower his ship massively to shoot the moon in the first In Our Shadow comic. So we've got this here. We've got Bray and Seed. Okay. So Bray, yeah, would probably be able to like drink a fair bit for like his race. Oh, he's a wallaby, by the way. I guess he'd be pretty big if he's in his like current form. Yeah, he'd be like not as tall as Steel, but pretty tall. So for anyone who wasn't sure, yeah, Bray he's a wallaby from the In Our Shadow comic, where it's 50,000 years in the future, and humanity has sort of destroyed itself, and animals have kind of taken over the ruins that we left behind and evolved in them, and sort of replicating like the way we evolved as well in a lot of ways. And Bray, he got hold of a device that basically downloads like the sum of human knowledge into your head, and also transforms your body into sort of like the best version of itself. So he became like way bigger. He's got glowing blue eyes now, and yeah, and he's sort of functionally immortal and he's doing all right for himself. He's been killed a couple of times, but he's come back from that stronger than ever. So this is roughly that. Why do the power armor need anti-gravity to work? Don't they have servo motors and hydraulics to move about? Yeah, so also in the In Our Shadow universe, like most creatures, especially the rats, tend to wear these power suits that like a climate control slash like power boosting suit. And the reason why they need, so they're powered by anti-gravity. Reason but for that is like the weight of them actually is, and this is the same for the Striders as well. The weight of them is part of how they're so strong. So they have like gravity redirection engines, which is like they don't really have servo motors as such. Like it's a bit different. What it does is like it takes the weight of the suit itself and redirects the weight into different, sort of redirects the gravity force of that weight into different directions. So that will like, you swing your arm around with the weight of like a brick wall kind of thing, which is what gives it the strength boost. So if the gravity power isn't working, then it's just going to collapse to the ground, which happens a few times because it's basically a mix of carbon fiber and lead, what the suits are made of. And if the power ever goes off, which, yeah, again, has happened a couple of times in the comic, you just immediately collapse. The only time that didn't happen was when sort of a superpowered being has that happen. They can resist it a fair bit just because they're just so naturally strong. But every other time power goes off, you just go down for the count. And that's just the fundamental way that they work. But because of like the infinite power of the Northern Hemisphere in that world, because of this, yeah, the Twilight Shroud that is sort of covering the whole Northern Hemisphere, just giving them infinite solar power, then it doesn't really matter how much power they use, like they'll never run out. So there's no real danger of that happening. um, how do flared individuals stay alive so long and through injury? Is it a biological modification or something like nanobots? Sorry if I already answered. No, well, if I have answered it, the good thing about that question is that it can be answered a few ways because get that stuff out of the way. Because it's sort of different for each person. So as I mentioned, if when you use the neural flare, you gain all knowledge, and it sort of rewrites your sort of genetic structure to be sort of like the best version of you. So already that's giving you a bit of a boost. It's kind of like Captain America serum kind of thing, where because you're so genetically like not enhanced but like optimized, that sort of just increases your lifespan naturally, but not infinitely. There are a few special cases with Emperor Shawl, because he was when he was first flared, he was like nuked. So the fallout and the radiation from that caused him to like reactively rebuild his body using nano machines essentially, as sort of as cliche as that is, to rebuild his body like completely into an artificial being. So he's like essentially a robot at this point. But that's why he can like live forever. He lives for 46 years, and then in the current comic, it's sort of like unclear whether he's still alive or not. But the others who've been flared, which haven't been many, there is Bray, who has come back. So this guy, he's come back from the dead sort of a couple of times. He got shot in the head, and it took a while for him to regenerate, but he did. But he sort of had lost a lot of his memories and things when he sort of was brought back. So he's kind of a different guy. And you can see that in the new comic, he's pretty different how he was in the first one. But the reason why he can do that is from the neural flare. He didn't do anything to himself to cause that to happen. But because of the way the neural flare just like completely boosts you, it managed to sort of rebuild a lot of him. Not his memories, but it just like sends your genetic structure in to be able to replicate cells a lot more easily, and that's partially how you manage to live so long. And it can also, a little bit like a Wolverine, I guess, where you can sort of replicate or regenerate more cells than you'd normally be able to. So yeah, that's sort of how he came back, but there's a limit to that, and you can't just like do it forever. Eventually, like your body will burn out. So, but that's never been tested, and no one is still alive who kind of knows completely how the neural flares work. Even the ones who've been neural flared, the knowledge of the flare itself isn't like complete in there, and you would lose that knowledge pretty quickly as well as you sort of regain new memories of your own. You lose the stuff the flare gave you. So the flares don't make you immortal, it just makes you regenerate a lot and makes your lifespan a lot better, just because of the way it's rewritten your genetic structure. So now Seed is gonna be like way tiny, and I'm going to say there's no like the laws of kind of alcohol consumption don't really exist the same in the future, so we'll let it slide this time. He's not that's fine. Anyway, next one. Why didn't you have Halite Quartz lose his ponytail of friendship? So Halite is a lab rat who spoilers, like does a big murder and a big twist, a big betray. And when he does that, yeah, I guess I don't know if that's a trope or not. For someone to like lose their ponytail when they turn evil or have a heel turn, I think it's sort of the opposite. Although I'm sort of basing that more on Aizen from Bleach, if anyone remembers that, who did. Wait a second. Yeah, he had his hair out and had glasses, and then when he went evil, he tied his hair up and lost the glasses. So in my mind, it's kind of the opposite. And I can't really think of many instances where that happened, where you would lose your ponytail upon becoming evil. No, if anyone can think of anything, let me know, but I'm not sure about that. So why did he not lose his ponytail, the friendship? Because as far as I know, that isn't a thing. What is the state of nanotechnology in iOS? So the Twilight Shroud, built by primates like 10, 15,000 years ago, it was made and is currently still being like kept in place by nanomachines to some extent, although a lot of that was deactivated when Emperor Scholl took it over, and he kind of rerouted all of that into his own means. So they've existed for like a long time, and certainly during like the human age of the soul age, as like when they sort of started using extra dimensional energy and doing all sorts of things. Nanotechnology was like pretty rife, but there's not really many people now who can control them. Even Amethyst couldn't do it. It was like a super genius in the first comic. She didn't really know kind of how to reactivate them or do anything with them. The only people who have been able to was Marvel, the other rat who's been neural flared, Bray, and Emperor Scholl. So no one else could. So the state of them is that they sort of exist in a dormant state, but as far as people are concerned, like there's nothing that can really be done with them. Let's see. Oh yeah. I always like draw him without his hair, and then when his hair comes in, it like completely makes it a different character. Um, yeah, he has like kind of way too much hair for one of the animals in this world, but that's okay. All right, what's next? Um, what is the status of skunks in our shadow? Like, where do they live, and how do other animals treat them? I remember talking about this at some point. They haven't been seen yet, and the main reason for that is the only animals, as we all know, the only animals that evolved in this world are ones that could kind of use their hands and like use their paws for hands, and then like reoccupy that human niche by evolving, like putting all their advanced stat points into that. And if they didn't already have paws that were used for like manipulating objects, they didn't really evolve. But some creatures have, and there's sort of more to this, which will come to light later in the story. But uh, let's see, what's a good expression for drunk? I should know this. Certainly, his eyes wouldn't be that open. That's better. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so skunks may or may not exist. I haven't decided yet. But there's certainly more to it than just having hands that allows a creature to evolve, although that is a big part of it. But there's been other creatures that have been seen, like rabbits, who don't really use their paws to manipulate things besides digging. But what is it? What's a drunk shorthand? This? I don't know. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, they could be around. I haven't decided yet. So the status is, yeah, because I like their design and stuff. So yeah, they'll probably be around. Especially after the like more information's given out about like what actually happened to cause them to evolve so fast, all the animals. Besides Secret of Nim and Gundam, what else inspired in our shadow? Code Geass, Battletech. I feel like Armored Hero is just mentioning things that they're kind of into at the time. I like Code Geass a lot. Geass. That's an anime from what, 2007 or something. The main thing I like about that is that the mechs are hand drawn and they're not CG, because I mostly hate that. And it's a pretty good show, Lelouch of the Rebellion. I thought that was quite good. And then there was a sequel. Something colonialism, something. But yeah, that was good. That wasn't an inspiration though, although I do like it. Okay, I think this is pretty much done. Oh wait, we need to give some guys some St. Patrick's paraphernalia. We'll put a four-leaf clover shirt on seed. But yeah, the inspirations for In Our Shadow, Secret of Nim was not, I guess, an inspiration in that I just wanted to make sort of like a spiritual successor kind of thing, where it's like taking that idea like to the extreme. Because yeah, Secret of Nim is about like rat experiments, and then they make the rats smart, and then the rats are doing stuff. And in the Don Bluth film, they have got magic and stuff, which kind of muddies the idea a little bit. But in the original book, they didn't have that. Yeah, so I just wanted to do that. So not really an inspiration, only an inspiration to actually do the thing in the first place. But I guess my main inspiration for the In Our Shadow was, hmm, I don't know, I kind of just liked the idea of it. I hadn't really seen anything that was kind of similar, although later on I found a few things that were a little bit similar. And after I started, things came along that were a bit similar. Like there was some really old like computer game that um, had it was like set in the future with animals kind of taken over, and I guess some like a lot of sort of fantasy worlds are kind of like that, but not specifically about animals. About how we reached such heights of technology, and then something went wrong. Did they destroy themselves? Blah blah blah. And now we're left to like pick through the wreckage of kind of what they left. Like that's pretty common. So I guess just the zeitgeist of that sort of thing. But making them animals, I didn't really have. Besides the fact that I liked drawing animals and sci-fi stuff, that's kind of it. In terms of like theme, I guess like the idea of like the rats being so afraid, and most of the reason why they do everything is to have like peace at all costs, because just kind of not genetically, but like I guess the memory of their species always being like hunted and always on the edge of things, and just needing to defend themselves. When they became the dominant race of the planet, that's sort of stayed there, even though it didn't really need to be. And I guess that idea of like something that's existed in a race or a group of people that is still influencing the way they do things, even though the original reason for it is gone, kind of comes from Macross. If you haven't seen that, one of the ideas of that is like their enemy is a race of giant aliens, which sort of attack. Or they're looking for. Well, it's complicated, but the thing about them is like they have no concept of culture, and you sort of realize that they were bred. They weren't originally giants. They were bred by essentially like ancient humans to be like a warrior race, and but eventually like that war ended, and then but they were still but they thought they were still fighting, and they don't know what they're fighting for, so all they really do is just go around and have huge fleets of ships and that sort of thing. And when they're confronted with culture, it sort of like trips them out, because it like awakens something in them that they'd sort of forgotten, and it kind of paralyzes them. So there's a few things in Our Shadow where that is kind of an idea, like the idea that like using the thing that's like the racial memory of a species against them in like the final battle, which happens in Macross, and especially in the Do You Remember Love movie that came a couple of years later. Like the final battle in Our Shadow, where they sort of go in there and the main idea is to just like use the rat's fear against them to like paralyze them, like that, and like that whole end battle with a couple of ships going over and attacking like a billion ships and kind of going through them, and some change their way of thinking, like and all this sort of stuff. And the fear signal coming down is kind of like the rats being reawakened to their, what they can be, their potential. And yeah, the final battle, the way it looks is similar to how Do You Remember Love ends, with just like a couple of like hero ships going in against like 100 billion enemy ships with like one idea in mind, and like sort of a not necessarily technological advantage, but an advantage based on like stuff that's been like introduced as concept through the thing. So that, but everything else. Oh, actually, yeah. Now that I think about it, the cities of gold originally. This is a pretty only people as ancient as myself would actually probably remember this, but there was a French Canadian combo TV show in like the very early 80s, which was called The Mysterious Cities of Gold. Or and The first my original concept for In Our Shadow was going to be more like that, where they're going to this place where there was like an ancient civilization, and they slowly uncover like. Okay, before I get more into that, I'm going to get a new picture. Anyway, here's a St. Patrick's Day picture with these two completely unfazed about their alcohol consumption, and Seed not not much. I'm gonna like put in his Stein a little image of like how much he's actually had. So I think probably about like one sip, and then I think we're gonna have his mom come in and like absolutely just like eviscerate these two for like endorsing this. So yeah. Yeah, so cities are good. Yeah, the mysterious cities of gold. I loved it when I was a kid. Like it's probably a bit hard to watch now, but yeah, because it's just so dated. But yeah, the idea of like a people going to, in that case, they were going to Central America and like the ancient Aztecs and the Mayans and the Olmecs and things. They had like solar powered technology that was like it was set in like 1510 or something, and so these first Spanish kind of conquistador type people come over looking for the cities of gold, and they have to go through like some puzzles and things to kind of find the like clues and technology that are left behind by this like incredibly powerful race. And they find eventually a ship, like a boat that's solar powered, that's like super advanced, and then later on like a giant golden condor, which is also super powered, like this giant golden flying bird. And so yeah, like the idea of them going and like, but in Our Shadow, it's more they're going archaeologically, like Amethyst coming in to search for human ruins, and they've got to like solve a few little puzzles and do some things and like find so they find like the human mech and they don't really understand it. So all that's kind of like Cities of Gold ish. Yeah, so that's kind of one of the inspirations as well. But apart from that, not really. It's just I wanted to do like a sci-fi thing with animals in it, and it kind of just sort of made sense to do it like that. Let's see. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so we'll get a new drawing thing. I realize I've gone 40 minutes in one picture. It's going to be a short compilation later on. So we'll turn that off. Turn this off. Get a new layer in here. All right. So let's go. New drawing suggestion. I'll go into chat and have a look in there to see if this one first. All right. Oh, okay. A lot of chat to do. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, Steel and Bray would have no problem drinking, but poor Seed, on the other hand, yes, indeed. So Seed would be underage. I mean, yeah, he's a year old. He's underage no matter how you slice it. He's like 17. If you're in Australia, that'd be almost legal drinking age. Shrub says, I was writing something, then I heard this ship, and my head popped up like, what? What are we shipping? Oh, you kids. Seed and Marvel are like teens, yeah, 14 to 16 range. Yeah, they're when they first were in the story, they were kind of like 9-ish, and then now they're around about 17 sort of equivalent. Do I have water? Oh, I do have water. You didn't get it for me, but I did actually remember. Thank you. That you do remind me to actually drink it. So nice bit of ASMR there for everybody. Well, did that water make me more hoarse? What the hell? I mean, what the heck? What the dickens? Well, they're not actually teens like human equivalent of teens yet. Mercenary, hi Kitfox, g'day. How's it going? I forgot how many months old they are, like 6 or 9. They're about 10 months old at this point, because a bit of time's passed. You better do Megas XLR, Lima, Coop, and Jamie. I've already done that. I would do that, but if you go, I'll find the picture in my someone commissioned it So it's in there. I won't do that because I've already done it. So armor needs anti-gravity for what reason again? I missed that part as I was doing laundry. It's what you bring a giant sack around to your parents' house for. Yeah, short, long story long. They need anti-gravity because that's what makes them strong, and the redirection of gravity of all the different limbs and parts and things is actually what causes them to move, not any sort of servos or motors or anything. If you notice, there aren't actually any mechanical parts to the suit. It's all in the backpack, and it's all moving the bits around like a little mannequin. More or less the same thing with Arthur, but that's because he had no living body to return to. That's stupid heavy. Yeah, they are stupid heavy. I mean, a human could probably lift it. I think I said they're about 40 kilograms, like a rat suit, which is like, because the rats are about 2.5 feet tall. That's like pretty. That's like a ridiculous amount. Yeah, I remember that in the books you mentioned in the behind the scenes parts you had thought about having Quartz lose his ponytail when he turned evil. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay, right. Yeah, I did say that. Yes. And I even drew it too. Sorry, I apologize. I did super say that, but I think I didn't because I forgot. I don't know. Doesn't matter. You had bunnies in the first comic. Yes, I think I just watched Zootopia. So I was kind of high on that sort of thing. So there was a blue like police looking strider with a suspiciously similar to another character looking rabbit on top of it. That was in one of the like the splash panels of some speech or something, which I do every 3 pages or so. Oh boy, season one is going to give Steel and Bray a piece of her mind for getting a baby drunk. Yeah, she will. Also, Seed's smaller body makes the alcohol hit hardest. Yes, absolutely. Also, squirrels probably have like a really fast metabolism, so it would make it even faster. Will I draw Neil the Seal? Yeah, right. um, that's a very local reference. I'll bring up Neil the Seal. So in Tasmania, yeah, particularly like the Hobart region, there is a menace slash giant, just a menace, I guess. He's a seal, big, huge, fat seal. He's generally on Clifton Beach, I think. Like he sort of goes around. Like Tasmania is pretty low down. It's like one of the lowest countries before you get countries. It's one of the lowest, I guess, cities Hobart is before you get to Antarctica. And so there's a big, big old seal who just like wanders around the city, eating traffic cones, getting in people's way, just like lying in front of people's doorways and cars. And like, you don't want to mess with like a seal that big. So people just generally like let him do what he wants. If you look him up, yeah, Neil the seal, he's like, I don't know, he must weigh like 500 kilos or something. But he's always just finding a way to just be an absolute pest. So let's see. He typically, I feel like, I'll just do this real quick. I guess it'll being like, uh, um, what's the most like menacing thing you could be doing? Oh, I know. I know. Uh, let me restart this. See, this is also going to be like a reference that's very kind of topical to like what me and Vitali we're playing a lot of we'll see if you can get it. Yeah, so Neil the Seal's gone around. I've seen him I think once in the Hobart Bay area, just like swimming around. But it's when he gets on land that he's like a real menace. Um, Sorry, I can't write while I'm talking. I'll talk while I'm writing. Um, what would he be? Oh, I know. I don't know if you can really see that, but yeah. So let's do seal. Have I ever drawn a seal? I feel like this, right? Probably. Oh yeah, they're like, and then yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Uh, and oh yeah, he's like 90% folds. So so it's a magic card. He has the keyword menace. He's a menace, and so which means that he can only be blocked by two or more creatures. So he's coming in. Oh, he's usually like doing traffic cone related crimes. So I think we're gonna be like he's about to like just really like come down hard on this traffic cone. Yeah, let's have him like yeah, that's better. Yeah, so he's absolutely massive. Like you would not want to tangle with this. But yeah, I think there's like a yeah, he's doing like a belly flop. The land's kind of down here and he's coming in and he's just gonna like land on a bunch of traffic cones and land on a bunch of traffic cones also in front of somebody's car. I think that combos most of his usual MO. Yeah, menace. I wouldn't say haste. I was gonna say haste, which is like means he can like attack on the turn he comes in, but no seal in the universe has ever had haste, so that's out of the question. Out of water anyway. So yeah, there he is. He's a beast seal creature with menace. Oh, he's a legendary creature because there's only one of them. Yeah, and he has menace. Oh, and he's a 9/9 fire creature. He's all about that instinct. Oh, he's fire. He's red black because black's all about like. I think he's just black. Black's all about just like personal gain and like personal stuff at the cost of everyone else, which seems pretty on point. So yeah, he's 4 black mana to bring in. He's a 9/9 menace beast seal creature. Okay, there's Neil the Seal. So let's go back to chat. I don't know how I keep forgetting. Okay, tabs. What? What? Here we go. Uh, where was I? Oh yes, a mysterious cities and sun under the sea. um, hmm. That is yeah. El Dorado indeed is the one of the cities of gold, one of the 7 cities of gold, which apparently there are. Although I guess that was like a that was they're trying to make the Cities of Gold cinematic universe. We get to the other 6 at one point. Spoilers, they don't. Well, they get to one other like 20 years later in a sequel where they go to China and it's all CG, so I hated it. So I didn't watch it. Angry Squirrel Mum run. Yeah, and even as far as Squirrel Mums go, she's pretty angry. Oh, actually, I don't know if I mentioned this, but that character, Russet, is based on when I was working at Rose Bay High, in doing digital art. They some students did a Karen squirrel, so they just had a squirrel and put like a Karen haircut on it. So that was essentially what Russet is like a personification of that. So okay, let's get a new layer. Actually, I won't leave on the blank white screen this time for the entire time. So, um, even Arthur fears the squirrel mama. Yeah. Draw Neil and his road. Yeah, draw Coop and Jamie uh, and Kia as lemurs. I've definitely done Coop as a lemur. I guess I could do the other two. Draw Neil and his road cones and lemurs dealing with him. They'd have no chance. Well, I've not heard about Neil the Seal. Sounds mental. Yeah, he's around. If you just look him up, it's probably for the best that you haven't. Like you're not the same after you do. Everyone remembers where they were the first time they saw Neil the Seal. The cost's on the right. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Maybe it's flipped. No, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's flipped. He's all over YouTube. Yeah, I feel like Tasmania's like main claim to fame is that traffic cone flavor text. Yeah, there definitely would be. It's like a quote from like someone who lives in Clifton Beach. Locking people in their houses, yeah, absolutely, is a menace. J. Jonah Jameson's gonna come after him as well. I linked a short sea lion related vid in Discord. Cool. How can you get a magic card wrong? We have thousands of them. You have thousands of them. I just use them. And trample, yes, absolutely. He's got trample, like for sure. Sorry for anyone who hasn't played Magic, but um, trample mean like normally when you get blocked, you don't do the damage. You just do damage to the creature, and then if that's enough, the creature dies. But otherwise, nothing else happens. But if it's trample, any damage beyond what the creature blocking you can take is dealt to their owner instead. Like so, yeah, absolutely menace and trample. Um, Name left, cost right. Yeah, I'm not going to change that now. Wait, are you not working at Rose Bay anymore? No, I quit. I quit last year. Well, I'm sort of technically still there, just working without pay. But I don't really have any intention of going back. Um, the Neil the Seal is part of the unglued car set. Yes, I'll draw. I'll draw. I don't know why I suddenly had a voice crack there, but let's get a Megas XLR. I've gone down some rabbit holes of some old shows, so might as well go. This one? That's not even that old. 2004. Let's characters. So, I didn't. Something about this show like kind of irked me a bit. I'm not sure why, so I didn't actually watch much of it. But yes, okay, we'll give this a go. Just cause, just I'll do it pretty quick. Just a couple of chill lame. I'll do a few quick ones to like make up for the fact that I spent 500 years on the first one. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Mega XLR is basically a like I guess like anime inspired. It's sort of in the early 2000s where like Cartoon Network shows they sort of got inspiration from anime but like didn't really understand what anime was. They like sort of like on its very like most basic level and it's like, oh, they talk with their mouths like not really following the proper motions and they have giant robots and they're always destroying cities and stuff. So like Powerpuff Girls, like a lot of Dexter's Lab, a lot of those kind of things will sort of reference like anime adjacent tropes, I guess. And like, oh, we'll go to Japan. Everyone's running, screaming. It's like a mix of like what they know about Godzilla and like very basic anime stuff. Um, these aren't lemur eyes. What am I doing? Lost the plot. Okay. So um this will be Jamie. Yeah, so anyway, Megas XLR was sort of one of those where there's like a bunch of people that the designs are like sort of anime-ish, like a little bit. Not a huge amount, but you can definitely see like a bit of inspiration in some of the characters and like the way they're shaded in particular, like that sort of the cell shaded thing, which like not a lot of American cartoons were doing at the time. And yeah, they're just a bunch of like bodyworks people, and um, they have like a car, but it's the car's actually like the head of a giant robot, which I never really liked the design of. I thought it looked kind of stupid and just like very lazily designed. Like there's a lot of, I guess, coming from a lot of shows like Evangelion and Gasaraki and things like incredibly solid mech designs. The Megas design is just I don't know. I find it very ugly, but that's a very subjective thing. It has a car for a head. It's got flames all over it and whatever. Um, so yeah, that was a show I didn't really. I probably watched like a couple of episodes. The show is probably good and fine. I just the style of it and the design of the mech didn't really take my particular fancy. This guy's got Inspector Gadget here. It's pretty good. Didn't realize that at first. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad I got that mouth like right in the first take. That's yeah, right. There we go. Jesus. I mean, gracious. I mean, St. Patrick. I'm gonna make his little beanie, which again doesn't really work except for this one particular angle if you have ears. And looks something like this. And then, oh yeah, he's got the pencil neck, as was the style at the time. Going from drawing an Akira Toriyama design-ish to drawing this, the only thing more pencil neckish than this is Rugrats. I remember when I was in primary school, I would try to make like little plasticine Rugrats characters, and like you very quickly realize that's basically impossible because of the head to neck ratio is just like out of this world and just untenable if made out of plasticine. So you've got kind of like a big open hoodie. Probably just do like the busts. I don't think I really need to draw because the rest of it's going to be like roughly the same. You'll just have like the kind of Lima pattern here. Wonder if I can actually do some incredibly advanced techniques. Uh-huh. Yeah, there we go. And then a little bit of black up here. And that's probably good. Oh, they have black around their eyes too, but ooh, no, that's too much. I'll leave that. I'll just do a little hint of that. Yeah. And then I guess it would be all like this. I don't know. I'll come back to that. All right. And then the other character, I don't really remember much from the show. They might have come in a bit later on. Must have watched like a very early episode. I'm probably watching it like at the time. See now. I'll get a question while I'm doing this. Let's go to Discord. Do the animals have similar gender identity concepts as humans, or are there differences you'd imagine evolving? Yeah, very different. One of the kind of, excuse me, I need to and chase it with coffee. One of the things that's really useful and good about doing a comic about animals is like it's almost like a it's a get out of jail free card in terms of not having to directly, well, it can either be used as an allegory for real life stuff that's happening or as a way to kind of like work in a space that isn't really mired or not mired or like influenced by stuff that exists in our real world. So yeah, gender identity and things are like completely different in our shadow. Like you probably noticed there aren't really any, like it's pretty much an even field. Like all the characters, like it's not like there's not really a lot that separates like how they act or what they're doing or the things they like doing or anything like that. It's all very kind of the same. Like it's not really there aren't really gender roles. It's like if you want to do a thing, you can do a thing, and it's like and the split between like who wants to do what is pretty even. Like in the squirrel army, in all the armies, like it's like even gender split. It's not like it's not really a masculine thing anymore. Partly because I guess the traditional, I guess, human ideals or the things we've historically looked on, which are really hard to shake in terms of like gender roles, going back to our like hunter gatherer days and things like that, don't really exist for the animals. Like there isn't like a lot of the time there isn't that much of a difference, so they don't really see much of a reason to like segregate for any reason. There's probably a lot more, depending on the era that it is, a lot more, I guess, racial differences and like prejudices with like the different animal species. But yeah, in terms of like I guess, gender specifically, there really isn't any. You can just, anyone can do whatever they want, and there's no stigma, because like, even though the animals sort of evolved in like the human ruins, they didn't really, there wasn't really anything left behind that would like, that wouldn't be of benefit to, for them to have accommodated any of that. So it's, yeah, it sort of just got lost. And so much so that like it's confusing to them, like when a human talks about segregating things like that, or particular types of clothing for particular genders or anything, they just don't know what they're talking about. uh like at the very start of the second comic, the human character mentions like bust size, and Tourmaline like doesn't know what he's talking about. Okay, so that's one. Let's get another. What conclusion did flared humans find for how universe will come to an end, forever expand and rip everything apart, heat death, or contract and rebirth a new universe? I did astro did astrology at university. I did astrophysics at university, and a lot of it was about that. And yeah, so that's something that I've always thought was kind of interesting. In terms of like what they found, I haven't really thought about that, because it's something that we can't really know. Like physics sort of breaks down when you start talking about that sort of thing. So you can't really make predictions. But if they had like they knew everything about the universe, how it works, mapped everything, they probably would have figured it out. But again, it would have been so far away that they didn't really. What am I doing? Oh, looking for that. Yeah, here we go. So far away that it wouldn't really affect them too much. So even if they did find out, they'd be like, "Oh, that's neat," and then they'd probably just like file that away. But I could like canonically right now, just add to the canon and say like what they might have found about that. So yeah, basically either heat death is where like just the universe expands so much, all the stars burn out, there's no more reactions, all the all the connections within atoms down to like um, quarks and everything that's vibrating, moving around stops moving, and therefore like heat stops being a thing. And so the heat death is when there's no kind of energy left in the universe and everything's just like inert and just like floating around, whatever. There's also a theory that like the universe is expanding, it'll keep on expanding forever, and until like atoms are so kind of far apart that everything kind of just like essentially becomes nothing. Um, so there's that, and there's also the theory that things will get to a point where everything like is expanded, but then everything will like sort of rubber band back in on itself and then collapse and sort of cause another kind of Big Bang event or whatever. People don't really know what would happen if that happens, or if that would happen. But I'm gonna say, like as boring as it is, I think that like um, heat death would be. They just found out that yeah, everything's gonna continue to expand, and um, all the energy in the universe is gonna sort of like just eke out into like the infinite void, and just end up being nothing. So just like more atoms will just like destabilize and become subatomic particles floating through the endless void. But that's yeah, they probably found that out. Like, well, that's a bummer, and then they didn't really think about it too much. And like, no one who's been flared has really like been asked for that or had a reason to like remember that, because the animals tend to like live fairly in the moment, especially the ones that are like existing now, because there's like a lot like the world's been set up so that they have to kind of live day to day and not get too sort of bogged down in this sort of thing, because that just causes you to kind of stagnate and not really get anything done, and then eventually your species ends up getting wiped out by boredom and lack of wanting to be involved with anything. So yeah, the animals don't really care about that sort of thing. This is weird hair. It's a little bit like hair that I would do as sort of like a first pass, or like if I was mucking around. It actually looks a little. The front of it looks a bit like a lot of the hairstyles I do a lot of the time. That's probably because I just like accidentally pulled from the same sort of generic anime sources that this show did. So what have they got going on? They got like, uh, I don't like that Wild Thornberry's um, world according to Ginger like mouth style this character has, where their mouth is like on the bottom of their face, and like they got like lips like down like this. That is like one of my most hated things. So I'll do it like as low as possible. I also don't like doing like lips on characters very much, so I'm gonna be like bare minimum sort of like representation of like a lower lip, I guess. Um, yeah, that's about all I'm willing to do here. And oh, they've got the sort of the big this, which yeah, traditionally like I had like a lot of really old characters who had this kind of hairstyle and eyes and question. Whoop. Um, do any animals have access to nukes? Hmm. Hmm. They do. They don't, because the nuclear age was ended during humanity's reign. There's no longer any radioactive material on the planet. They, yeah, that's all kind of gone. They used it all up. They sort of stabilized it all as part of like a Geneva Convention type pact sort of thing. And so there might be still some like hidden nukes somewhere, but you can't make new ones. And certainly they would have been like hidden really well to avoid any of like the people who want them all destroyed to find them. But yeah, so there's no nukes, which sort of explains why like alternate sort of weapons of mass destruction kind of came in, which weren't really able to be countered in sort of a fairly easy way. They Okay, let's see if I can do this. So it's all energy based now. Everything's all energy weapons and accelerating particles to like huge speeds in order to create massive relativistic damage. So yeah, it's other Einstein stuff, but not sort of nuke business. Um, don't know if this looks too much like the character, but I really couldn't like make do them in like a Lima style because they have I accidentally made a new layer again? No. Why is that? Oh, that's better. Yes, the head is like this with like massive cheekbones, a mouth down here, and like eyes like this. It's like um, completely not possible to do like a lemur that looks like that. So if there is, it would there. Looks like Cats Broadway. So we'll just finish this up real quick and then we'll head on to like a different one. Whoop. Oh yeah, it's even less able to do that now. Have a lipstick on there. Anyway, that'll do. I guess I'll just do it's kind of like a power suit, or like some sort of, I guess it's a pilot suit or something. Don't know. I don't remember. I remember very little from that show. Um, there we go. That'll do. All right. I'm going to get a new drawing suggestion. Go back up to the top and scroll down. Oh, that's a lot. What do I want to do? A bear strider and a comparison of all the different ones. Yeah, I'll do that just because it'll be quick. I did say that the queen Snowfall Wings of Fire one. I kind of want to draw a dragon, so I'll save that one till the end if there isn't another dragon suggestion. Okay, so a bear strider. So just I guess I'll draw them all very quickly. So yeah, your basic. Ooh. Tim Allen about this for some. Oh, there we go. Okay, I turned off that layout but didn't bring in a new one because I'm a smart person. Yeah, so your typical one looks like this. As I mentioned, I could basically like draw in my sleep at this point, which makes it very easy when you have to draw like 100 of them all at once. Oh, it's a little stub-nosed, but you get the idea. And they're mostly like variations of this. And yeah, they were sort of a creature that was a creature. They were a machine that was built by in our Shadow universe, Emperor Shawl, to sort of like his first machines he built. He kind of reverse engineered because he forgot how to make them like really quickly. It has a gigantic head. Let's see if I can do some magic on this. Do I not have a round select tool? Maybe after. Well, don't that beat all? Okay. I'll just draw the rest of it bigger. It's fine. Yeah, so they're the machines that he sort of like default mass produced once he sort of forgot how to make new stuff. Like he built the factories and then just made like actual millions of them. So they're around. They're very big. A rat is about this big to them, and a human's about like that. So they're still really no, the rat's more like this, and the human's about that. So they're pretty big. Their head's about the size of like a really small car. And they're sort of like sort of skeletal and like fairly kind of biological looking, because they sort of have a direct link to the pilot and they've got to be to their like nervous system. So they've got to be like relatively similar to like the layout of their body shape so they can be controlled. So much so that like all the different species have like slightly different variations on them. So there's the rat ones, which are kind of like this. There's the squirrel ones, which pretty similar. Their bodies are bigger than this. They're a bit too small. They sort of fold back a little bit like that. And they can sometimes have like blades on their arms, but they don't always. And then there's the combat ones, which are a little bit different. Yeah, so I won't draw them all because they'll be pretty similar, but essentially the other small species ones are mostly like this, except their heads are a little different. Like the squirrel ones are a bit like shorter nosed, he says, while drawing it exactly the same as the one he just did. But they have bigger ears and they have like a little notch in the top. There's the raccoon ones, which again, body's fairly similar, although the tail's a little different, which the raccoon ones are really different. They're like they look like more like this, and they've only been seen a couple of times. Because in the current comic, the raccoons don't have like enough technology and enough power to power all the striders they had from the past. So they are resorting back to like their old stuff, and like the squirrels mostly do that as well. But but the squirrels have a bit more power to power some of these, just not too many, and only when they really need to. And then they sort of have the smaller ears that kind of like go back like that. So imagine like these heads, but all on this body, like basically the same thing. Then we did do a bat one before, which looked a little bit like this one, which I probably won't draw again. And then we'll go a bear one. Oh yeah, so this was like your basic run-of-the-mill strider that had like very basic defense systems, like by rat standards. And they were mainly used for like labor and geological digs and things like that, and just like construction. Whereas the combat ones, which were a lot more heavily armored and a lot bigger, their heads were like just like a dome like this. Ugh. Eh. Struggling here a little bit. But they did still have, yeah, they had like a dome with sort of no eyes, kind of like xenomorph-ish. They did still have ears that sort of pointed a bit back more, and they did still have like the mouth kind of like with the teeth like that. And their bodies were roughly like this, except they had a lot more armor on them, and like all these bits, which are kind of just like bones essentially, they're all covered up, and they're also a lot sleeker and smoother. And on their shoulders, they had this sort of pod-shaped thing, which opened up, and inside there was like lasers and like their little missiles and um, other little things that would launch bombs, which are mostly from the first comic, because none of these really exist anymore. They were sort of all destroyed in the first comic. So yeah, they looked more like that, and they could stand more upright as well. They weren't always like hunched over. And that's about the size difference as well between the two. Then there was, yeah, some fancy ones that Stroll first made, which were kind of like this. They like were bipedal more. They weren't really hunched over at all. They were kind of had a pretty long face, and they would sort of just like stand very straight. And those are the ones who sort of reverse engineered to create the more common ones. But he sort of forgot how to do it properly, so he couldn't quite replicate the exact same thing. And they were a lot more energy based. So they had like a lot of their body structure was made up of the extra dimensional energy that the flare users can sort of harness from another dimension to power and like build their machine sort of around a projection of their own like soul energy kind of thing. So there's those type. There's a lot of other mechs and things, but they're not Striders, so I won't draw them. I guess going back more into the past, so there's no questions really to answer in this one, but further into the past, yeah, there's the ones I drew before, which looked like this, sort of the prototype, which I did change because I eventually learned about a little game called Mech Warrior, and the Timberwolf, I think, looked quite a lot like this. So I'm like, people are going to think it is a copy of Mech Warrior. So I did change the design somewhat. But the first ones, they had these big kind of, some rhombus shaped arms. And they sort of have always had this thing. Like if you see like their feet, they always have like a little arch on the side and a little side bit. They pretty much always had that, and they still do. These days it kind of is more like there's like a panel here, and then they have like a proper kind of foot. But yeah, originally it was like a domey foot and then like a little side bit on the side. These like arm shapes, that hands on the front and like two guns, come from Macross as well. So that's another early influence. There was a big mech in Macross or Robotech called the Mark II Monster, which had arms that look a little bit like this. So that's where that sort of came from. After that, like this piece changed into like more of a flat like this. And there might have been a reference to some Eldar stuff, some Warhammer 40,000 stuff, but I don't remember. But it does look a little bit similar. But apart from that, it was the same. Everything else was the same. Then after that, they went through a few iterations. This is kind of in like grade 11-ish, and like the early crossover comics that are on Patreon have got this sort of design. This was actually there was a step in between. There's this kind of thing, which had, so yeah, it went from this, and I'll draw the middle step over here, and then this is where things are getting kind of like a bit similar to the rat ones, where like it's all kind of sleek angles and stuff, and the arms are blades that so the wings here on this one would fold down, and then these would sort of go up underneath, like the Tidarian shuttle, but then after that they stopped doing that, and then the blades were on the wings, or on the arms rather, and then the blades became the wings. But they still had like the backwards legs. They didn't really have the digitigrade thing going on. And then so after this there's like an intermediate step where, what was it? They're in Stolen Generation, but it was like, sorry, I'll stop doing this. It's like a big aside. What did they look like? I remember now. yeah, they were like this, and then like this, and then like this, kind of like a the bridge, sort of like that. And then yeah, they were a lot boxier. And they were made up. Yeah, so then when I was in, I guess, grade 10, 11, it's not quite right, but it's close. But yeah, they were quite. It was like a perfect middle step between this and this one, where everything was like sort of angular, but it was sort of getting there to like the next step. And this one still had the wings that went up, so they would be like that on the side, but the wings would be like a bit sort of fancier with sort of the arms. Did they actually? Yeah, they did. I guess I just can't sort of think of like where they went. I think it went right up there, and then yeah, then the arm sort of came out the top. Anyway, not important. But they had like this kind of thing, and still the backwards legs. They're like very boxy. And then there was a few others. I did like a comic in like 2009 or 8 or something with, um, it was like a competition, like a mech battle competition with comics, called Steel Nation, I think. And then there was a mech in that. Well, my character was a guy called Vincent, who like had a beret and like big sideburns, and a typical like me character. And he was just like a weird. Yeah, the pseudo was like an acronym. The mech was called the pseudo, and there was an acronym that was stood for. It didn't actually make any sense, but it was paraphrased scientific explanations you don't understand. Even though that doesn't actually work as an acronym, but it's fine. And that was like the midway point between like this strider and the animal one. It had like a really long like domey head, kind of like this, and then like an extra like plate at the back. But it had the it did have the digigrade legs that kind of went like that. So that was sort of the first time that came into it. It's been a real long history lesson. I know it's not super interesting. That's okay, but it did have like that body, and like its arms were actually like just little bits like this originally. It got an upgrade later, but they were a bit like that, and like it just had big energy blades for the arms. And then it kind of went crazy and did the usual mech stuff where it went like chaos mode and that's too much power and whatever. But yeah, that's kind of the history of a Strider. So it goes this, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. And yeah, I've got a few other comics in the works where there's going to be like another iteration even after that. Anyway, that was all to get to the Bear Strider. So let's turn this off and let's turn a new layer on. So yeah, as I guess part of all that is that it needs to like replicate their kind of design to some extent, like in real life, so that they can interact with it properly. So I guess it would just be like quite sort of like blocky. And they don't really do mouth like that, do they? They have like longer this bit, and then I guess it would also, yeah, that's like a badger, but he asked for a badger strider, right? That's what I heard. Yeah, I guess that bear is more like the eyes a bit, oops, the eyes a bit sort of closer in and they have more head around the outside. Yeah, and then they'd have like the little ears, but they do still have the ears because the animals pretty much always have very advanced like ear sensors on the machines because that's one of the big parts of it. They're looking around their surroundings. So yeah, that they have the typical like this line, which they sort of always have. And then, oops. And would this be like, I guess in the traditional, no, the raccoons don't, raccoon's more like a raccoon, a bear is more like a raccoon. It'll have like the raccoon style, this little square plate up here. And then the body, I guess it would be like a little more, no, it'd have to be the same as the others, but like a bit squarer probably. And then the arms would be, weird. It turns out if you put a bear head on like anything else besides a bare body, it looks very weird. So yeah, I guess we'll keep like a very kind of blocky sort of shape, and we do have to keep like a basic structure because yeah, once they had like the blueprint and forgot how to make more stuff, they couldn't really deviate too far from it. But we'll go like this. We'll go like, yeah, kind of, we'll do like the usual style, but like a pretty chunky version of it. Oh, speaking of influences as well, I think I've mentioned this before, but like this arm style comes from Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion. The Unit 1, Unit whatevers, they have this kind of thing going on. So yeah, a few references to a few animes that were pretty formative for me. So kind of like this, got this, got this, got this. Okay, I'll just draw the rest of this on autopilot and I'll get another question. I think that might be all the questions. So I'll go into chat and see what's going on in there. It's been about 10 hours since I've done that, so I probably should. What? Memory of Akira, see Space Cowboy. Not him, but yeah, that's that sentiment. The nihilistic answer. Yeah, I'm kind of a nihilist. You might have figured that from the themes in my stuff. Majority of the suggestions are from me. Yeah. How about a typical Lima garage? Just wait. You're on. Wait, have I shown it yet? No. Yeah, I have. If you're on Patreon, you would see already about 40 pages in advance and in our shadow. There's a big typical Lima garage in that. So just wait a bit and you'll see that at some point. Bye guys, need to random school stuff. Yeah, don't miss that. Current shape looks like a cyclopean bird. Yeah, I like that idea. That sounds quite Lovecrafty. Looks like Yash. Yeah, it does actually. I have like a pretty typical style, I guess, of things. Digigrade makes for great perspective shots. Yes, it does. Although they're hard to have their legs like bending at weird angles because it's a bit strange. Four-eyed bear cannon? Sure. Well, I mean, in the comic, the bigger the striders are, the more eyes they have. That's kind of how you tell the difference. That's a little hack. What made it dance? What the heck? Oh, G must have set this up. The flip. Okay, anyway, what I was trying to do was undo. Now it's going to undo all those flips I did. There we go. Yeah, in the comic, the normal size ones have, well, the power suits have no eyes. The normal size ones have four eyes. I mean, two eyes. I can't draw four eyes while saying two eyes. The middle ones have two sets of eyes, and the gigas have three sets of eyes. So that's a little something you can take to the bank. By the way, did you like the pun I had for my commission idea? Oh, replicants? Yes, very good, very good. Gold star. I guess you'll know more about that once I do the Patreon commission for Mordak. Try a bear head that's been shaved. Shaved bears look freaky. I'd say some shaved people look freaky. So I'd say shaved anything probably looks pretty weird. But yeah, I can imagine a shaved bear just looks like a very angry person you don't want to mess with. Does the mech have AC2s or AC20s? I don't know what that is. You'll have to enlighten me. At the perfect angle for paunch. You gotta have a paunch. Oh, yes. Hello, by the way, Bozoe. Yes, thanks for getting on the Patreon as well. That's amazing. I was getting a little, I always get a little sad when they sort of drop off faster than they join in, but yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. That's really evened out the old equation. Okay, yeah, let's put a paunch on here. And it's got some big legs. Big legs. This looks like someone doing some exercise. I guess they kind of always look like that. Doing a big squirt. And then I guess it'll be fairly like low to the ground here. Maybe I'll make the legs smaller than that. Like a bear's fairly like, I mean, every animal, a lot of them, a lot of the herbivore types that are in here are fairly back heavy. But a bear, I feel like kind of a bit more front heavy. No, they're very back heavy. What am I talking about? They're the back heaviest, junkest, and the trunkiest animal that exists. But anyway, I think small legs anyway. Plus, yeah, there are bears in the story. So there are bear striders. Probably, except that the bears have sort of been kept under like pretty strict control because they're really strong and still have like a tendency to try to like be a bit belligerent and eat people, and so they are sort of kept in a fairly tight leash. So despite the fear signal that existed in the first comic, kind of the submission signal keeping all the non-rats in a very docile state, they still may not have been given the ability to control striders of their own because it's just a little too dangerous. But if there was, I think I like the big legs actually. That's okay. That's perspective. We're looking down on it in a big hanger, and here's the perspective. And here's Gendo Akari looking out the window, being like, yes, this is all going according to plan. Oh, me burning my hands to a crisp, and everything's falling to pieces, and the whole base is destroyed. That's all according to plan. That was, so that's fair. So yeah, this is a bear strider. So I'll get another one. So yeah, if you got any more questions, keep them coming. We seem to have a lot more drawing suggestions than questions. So let's go. Oh yeah, thanks Zatali for putting the picture I did of, I guess it's not exactly the Megas XLR, but it's like a lemified version of it. By which I mean I tried to make it a bit better. But that's just me being curmudgeon-y about mech designs that aren't for me. So right. Suggestions. A fully converted squirrel strider, poofy tail and all. Well, oh, sorry, I already said this in here, but I won't draw that because that's about to happen. Well, on Patreon anyway. In about 40 pages time, for everyone else, it's about to happen. Yeah, so the squirrel strider with a big poofy tail is definitely in there. Blade Wolf from Metal Gear acting like a dog. Seed as Raiden from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. Very seed heavy on this one, but I'll do that. Why not? So we'll turn this off. We'll get this on. Now, since I don't play those newfangled video games that you kids are all about, I better look up, see what, I know what Metal Gear is, but I don't Raiden, eh? Back in my day, Raiden was from Mortal Kombat. It's certainly just not a very generic name that's in a lot of things. Revengeance is one of the best words in the human language, though. Oh my god. Oh, it's this guy. I know this guy. Partly metal, partly real. Okay. Alright. I mean, sure. Whatever. Let's do it. Okay. So, got a thing. Got a face. I guess I just draw a seed and then I'll make him a Borg, which apparently is what he looks like. Like an anime Borg, or Borg if they had a budget. So he's got his face and his rectangle eyes. And he's actually, his hair is similar to Mr. Raiden. Mr. Raiden might be his father. And he's got, whoa, it's that kind of modern tech stuff that's sometimes I get commissioned to draw, but it's like, man, I don't know what's going on here. It's outside my wheelhouse. That's okay, I'll try it. Try it anyway. So he's got a nose. I won't bother drawing any of the bits that are just going to get covered up by whatever, even though I just did that. So he has a big old patch, big old thing. Going under there. But yeah, let me know if there's anything you want me to like answer or talk about in the chat. I'll get right onto it. But yeah, I guess in terms of stuff that's been going on, G and I have been playing a lot of Power World, as anyone on Discord might have noticed. I feel bad for playing like games a lot of the time because it like does take like a lot of time when I should be drawing comics and things like that. Doing my other commission stuff because now that I'm not teaching anymore, I do need to work a bit more because painting miniatures doesn't quite pay the same. But yeah, so anyway, time is limited, but I've been playing a lot of Power World. Pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have played it unless G was playing it, but we are having a lot of fun, and yeah, I do quite enjoy it. You know, we're reaching the end game now, so we probably have gotten it out of our system. Probably by this time next stream, I'd say definitely we would be finished with it. We've just got to we've caught all the pals and beaten all like the gym leaders, but we haven't whatever they're called syndicate bosses. But we haven't there's one more syndicate boss we haven't done yet. Now, would he have? He's also getting a little older here, but that's fine. Would he have teeth? Because Raiden, oh, he's got top teeth. I guess he would have. Oh, this guy's freaky looking. Okay, yeah. So his whole bottom jaw is like robot jaw. So, whoa. he became a robot Inspector Gadget, which is, I guess, a core memory is the robot Inspector Gadget that I saw when I was about 4 years old. With like the only thing that made him a robot was that his bottom jaw was like separated from the rest of his face. So he'd still have the teeth, and it's all like techie. I probably won't spend too much time like replicating all the little fine details. But then he's got like bottom teeth like just on here. Ugh, I don't like that. Kind of like what was it? Tokyo Ghoul? Not really like that, but like sort of mask thing. And then he's got these sort of plates. A really thick line. And then he's got some more plates. And then, yeah, some more plates. But yeah, probably won't spend too much on this one. Whoop, 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 whoop. A lot of fibrous stuff. Like I don't know where the fibers begin and the metal ends. Kind of that, I guess, yeah, that modern cyberpunk look. There we go. I think that's pretty seed as Raiden from the Metal Gear Revengeance. All right, next one. We'll get another Suggesto. Drawing one. There's quite a lot of here, so probably won't draw all these. Something DBZ related, already kind of did that. Steel is cast as Sephiroth in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Zero's kid catches him working his side hustle being an Easter bunny. Oh, they're both good. Let me, real quick, do that. I think I'll do that second one because that's almost appropriate. Okay, so zero. Oh, I'm gonna try to like draw zero from memory, but so here's the my Lopunny from Pokemon Platinum, and I know he has like hair, and he has the ears and the eyebrows, and yeah, no, yeah, I think that's a yeah, there we go. He's probably got teeth. I think he has like this, and then he's pretty ruffled, but I guess he's all roughed up because his fight or flight response. His float of fruit response has been really kicked in from being found out about the fact that his side hustle is being an Easter rabbit. He swore he never would. It's like, Father, you promised. So those days are over. He's going to. I feel like this is wrong somehow. Oh, I think I know how it's wrong. He has. I don't know if he has teeth actually, but I know he has that. I think that'll make the difference. Sort of. I hope I do a better job with Ion, who's his son. He was hatched. But he is a Lucario. Um, yeah, so he's doing some. What Easter Bunny? Yeah, I guess it's different in different countries. In here, like we have, because whenever I see Easter stuff from non-Australia, it's always like they're searching for painted eggs or painting eggs, which is not a thing we do. We just get a whole bunch of chocolate eggs, sometimes hide them, but mostly they're just there. It's just like Christmas, but with like big chocolate eggs. That's how we do it in this town. So he also has some belts all over his arms because he's a Digimon. I'm not sure if I love that mouth actually. I think that's. But anyway, he'll be doing that. He'll be doing it that style. All right, except that the lime is too thick. I think he's like just not. Yeah, that's better. Maybe. Yeah, sure. And he'll be lifting up a rock. Yeah, it's usually like you're asleep, and then the next morning the Easter Bunny's been and then left a massive Cadbury's or red tulip egg. Kind of looks like he's stealing it. Maybe he'll actually have to put the egg in his hand. And sometimes it's like the Humpty Dumpty on there or whatever, or sometimes the chocolate rabbit. When I was like 2 years old, my parents got me like a chocolate rabbit for Easter, real big one, but I didn't know it was a chocolate rabbit, so I just like carried it around and like played with it forever. And then I think eventually they had to like tell me the truth. They had the intervention, made sure I had people close by who could help me take it one day at a time, and eventually I did come to the realization that it was not a toy. And you break them open and like, oh, they're in like a wrapper, but they always have like this pattern on them. So for some reason, this is just like an already unsleeved chocolate egg. Yeah, going under a pillow. He's like the tooth fairy, I guess. And I'm not sure where the kid is. Uh, he's not doing it right. Maybe that's why he's got to stop doing the Easter Bunny side hustle because like he's clearly like not sure about how this works. You can tell it's a kid because he's wearing his hat to bed. And that's his shoulder. Yeah. And then so Ion. Okay, I think I remember a little bit better about he looks. That was English. Don't run the tape back and see what I actually said there. So then he's like, also I don't know why he would be here, but maybe he was like just tailing Zero. Whoa, those are some closer together eyes than is necessary or is legally acceptable. Nose? No nose. Lucario, no nose. He does have a long head and he has a long nose and he has long ears and long hair. And he has that square head. Yes. And then, nope. What? Oh. Yeah. Don't look at me. He's got these. He's got these. And yeah, I mean, there's basically an Anubis and sorry, there's basically a Lucario and Palworld as well. That's just because they're both a Nubai. I'm gonna wake this kid up yelling in such indignation as this. So let's get rid of this. And now this is the thing, the Lucario patterns. It goes, I think, like this, and then like this is what I'm doubling down to. It's been like 15 years since I drew that comic, so. Oh yeah, and I've got this. And they've got little shoulders. And then he's going to be like, I guess hands on hips. And then, yeah, kind of goes like this. And he's got this big Lucario hands in amongst these just nightmares of lines. Yeah, I think that's good. And continue these ears. They're not. And get rid of that. And yeah, I think that's about it. So we've covered St. Patrick's Day and St. Easter Day. Yeah, it's covered all of the necessary holidays for this quarter. Why did I commit to this? Now I've got to do all of it. But apart from playing Power World and doing lots of work and stuff and painting lots of Marvel Crisis Protocol models for people on commission, well, I've gotten the Lord of the Rings War of the Ring game, which I really love. It's like a board game, but it does take like 6 hours to play. So we played it yesterday, and it's really great, but you really got to devote a whole day to it. So that's been a lot of fun. I love doing that. It's like just you like retell the whole story, Lord of the Rings, because like it's like the whole world and all the characters in it and all the stuff they can do. But like what actually happens is like can be very different depending on how you want to actually do it. So it's a really cool one. We've been playing that. I think that's a Lucario, everybody. I'll do the little fill in the mouth. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And there we are. All right, and the other one was Steelers casted Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII Remake. So yeah, I don't think I've ever drawn a Sephiroth, even though clearly like Steel's hairstyle is based on that sort of thing. So sure, that seems like something that's necessary. So we'll go new one. We'll go. Wait a second. Oh, the layer box was off the side. There we go. Yeah. And this one off. All right. Now I think I know what Sephiroth looks like, but just to be sure, so I don't make all the Seth heads mad. Go. I'm not sure if his outfit will be different in the remake, but it's not going to be now. The one-winged angel himself. I never actually played Final Fantasy VII, so I might actually eventually play the remake. Oh man, he looks more 90s than I thought. Yuki boy. So I guess we'll just start off with Steel and then just separate them because that seems like the way to do it. On Steel a lot. I drew him facing that way last time. Let's shake it up. So apparently I could just press this. I can just press this and just change him later. That's too much power for me to wield, so I can't be tracking, can't be mixing with that. So we'll always draw his head a little too narrow. But yeah, this might be the last one. Oh yeah, I should be. Oh, I've got to do the dragon one. Okay. Oh god. Okay, it's gonna be a speed run, and no one can get on my case about how not Sephiroth this is. Oh, he's got some serious brows and just big, beautiful eyes. I think we'll go smirk. He doesn't. Oh yeah, he does he has a bit of a smirk. Got a super long nose. It isn't really relevant, but no, he just looks so innocent. He looks like a 90s, like, I guess the girl protagonist in like a late 80s, early 90s thing. Their mum's definitely just died and they're living on their own, and then something's happening, a group of magical boys or something. Oh, we've got to give him the big shoulders though. And this is good. I like this design. If this in the remake, he's probably going to look like Raiden. All of this is just going to be a bunch of just carbon fiber sinews and whatever. Give me 2 plates, a shirt, big gloves, and I'm happy. Oh, well, this is wait, hair in front, hair behind. Oh, his hair isn't even that long. I did that without even looking. It's that long now. I guess I'll. I don't know why I thought his hair was that long. It's nowhere near it. Just like a one-winged angel. He's a white boy though. Oh, he gets thinner down in the abdominal region, as was the style at the time. And then, oh yeah, got this because you got to have at least 10 belts. Got this. It's horrendous. Okay, and it comes down the back, and he's got a big collar. And I think make him a little angrier. And that hair definitely does line up with the other hair on the top. There we go. No, oh, it's getting worse. How did I make it so? His mouth is so like, so tiny. Stream just me flailing for 2 hours. Okay, there we go. I think that'll do. I didn't even get his sword, which I did remember the name of it because it's like the name of every magical sword ever because it's some historical. The Anyway, it's going off here, and then Pac-Man style, it's coming back in off the other side. There we go. That's a Steel as a Sephiroth in the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Even though everyone else is probably going to be redesigned, he's going to look the same. There we go. Yeah. All right, so I've got 5 minutes to do a dragon picture. Either the Snowfall one, or I'll see if G or anyone has left me another suggestion. Where were we? Oh, there's some questions. Oh man, there's been a lot. I should have come back here. Oh, that was so much. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, Guns on the Mech from Mech Warrior. Okay. Okay, I think I'm back. Have I played Hunt Showdown? I haven't, but maybe next time I'll do that. Mech Bear. Don't like it. Oh dear. Oh no, I better go find one of these hidden nukes. Yeah, have fun. Perspective makes bear mech very tall. It probably is very tall because the bear's got to fit in the head, which has to make the rest of it bigger. Give me a sec. Okay, well, looks like I've just goofed it and haven't looked back in time. Here's a question: will we see animals in space? Oh, will 2E see animals in space? Animals have already been in space, but they might go in space again. I will neither confirm nor deny. Revengeance released like 11 years ago. Yeah, that's still new for me. Raiden's very iconic. Revengeance is a masterpiece which make you laugh and think simultaneously. I love that. Would play if was good at game. For a second there, I thought Kitfox was going to say, no way, too detailed. No. Do you envision rock, paper, scissors type situation in terms of iOS weaponry, or is it mostly what is needed for a story? Oh, that's a good question. I'll get onto that. And Powerworld's still in any early access. Yeah, it's pretty good though for that. Oh, Zitali just said that. We've been together too long. Our brains are one brain. One tooth could complement his asymmetric face. Yeah. Is this shawl or the lop honey? That's a lop honey. Well, I can't remember which one it was. We get plastic eggs that we put candy in and then search for those. He looks villainous. Yeah, you should. I think that what about the Sephiroth one? Then listen to him. Aussies do Easter egg hunts. Yeah, no, I said that. We do Easter egg hunts as well, but they're chocolate eggs. Oh, they're normally foil-covered chocolate eggs. Again, simpatico. Sounds like Easter for 50,000 years in the future. Yeah, it's that advanced. Americans like to eat peeps. Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to draw some peeps. We don't have them. Are they like this? Like this? And you wanted like marble and seed eating them. Oh, no, I won't even try that. Give them my time. We have 2 minutes. I'll leave that there though. I might make the thumbnail. So we'll get another one. Those chicken things. I've never had them. Yeah, no, we haven't. Candy corn, I love. We never have it here. Peeps, I probably would like. We have even had less of it here. Play the original PS1 version first. Oh, Final Fantasy VII? Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. I've been playing through Rebirth and it's approaching 100-hour game for 100% completion. Not including any Neon Genesis Plus stuff. No, I know it's New Game Plus. Yeah, we've been playing Power for about 120 hours or something. Mechniv Mizzet. Oh yeah, the Mazamune, that's it. There's a Mazamune Liger in Zoids too. Okay. Heh heh heh. They're delicious. They're marshmallows covered in sugar. Hope to see you upload my latest commission soon. I will. I was going to upload it on Easter, which it hasn't been yet, so we'll do that. All right. Niv Mizzet is a dragon from D's Magic the Gathering. I should just no-scope him, but I know he has like a big frill, and I will do that. What am I doing? I don't use a reference when I'm doing dragons. Okay, so he's a mech Niv Mizzet. So I'll just try to draw a normal Niv Mizzet and then I'll like mechanize it. So I know he's got like a pretty short face and like a big frill that's like got red on the edge. But he's like one of the most ancient. He's the most ancient and only dragon who's alive from the dragons of Ravnica, the city of City, the the citywide plane, the plane-wide city. And he's like a massive scientist, super genius. He's called the Fire Mind because like if he thinks you're cool enough, you can like have a look into his like incredible mind. But that usually sends people insane. Um, what am I doing? Oh, I've lost my mind. Why did I make his body like that? Um, and he, yeah, um, he's always like sitting down. He's always off in a laboratory doing something and like not really caring about his guild. He One of the guilds in Ravnica is the Is It League, who are all about sort of scientists doing things, and they are named after him. And yeah, he normally goes off and like works on these massive like interplanar threats because he's not a planeswalker himself. He can't go between the planes. This is definitely the best dragon I've ever drawn. Okay, so let's make this a mech. And he was like involved in like the one of the big storylines where another really powerful dragon called Nicol Bolas came from the plane of Dominaria, came to try to like take over with an army of mummies from another plane called Ravnica. Sorry, called Amonkhet. But through various things that happened, Niv Mizzet died, but that was all part of his plan. He really Doctor Stranged it and then sort of came back and as like a the Living Guild Pact, like a big golden reincarnation magical version of himself with all the powers of all the power. And so he beat he beat Nicol Bolas with the help of some other people. And then everyone lived happily ever after, and nothing bad ever happened in Magic the Gathering that was bad again. The end. The end. What do you want? I can't say anything else after it's the end. But anyway, after that, Nicol Bolas probably isn't dead, and he'll definitely come back with more schemes and things. But yeah, Niv Mizzet, because we've been playing a lot of Magic as well lately, as well as playing Power World. G's, of course, got a lot of Dragon decks and has got a Niv Mizzet card in the Dragon Commander deck, but has also ordered a bunch more dragons, including a other Niv Mizzet. And this is, so don't even bother looking up what he really looks like, because this is it. In fact, I'm pretty sure, like, I might get in trouble from Wizards of the Coast, because this just looks like what the card looks like, honestly. And then, nope, and then, excuse me. Oh, we went to white for some reason. I don't know why I'm getting, like, St. Patrick's trolled today, where, like, it just goes to white for some reason. Mecha Mizzet. When he comes back again, as he's probably going to do, he'll have the power of God and robots on his side. Niv Mizzet, obviously. Well, I think this has been one of the best drawing streams in terms of just the quality of the art, like completely. I think I might as well quit now. I'm not going to be able to top the majesty of this, all this stuff, which has been just top notch, and I've been completely on point the entire time. But yeah, thanks very much everyone for being here for the stream. And yeah, it's been great to catch up with people and get all your questions and things. Sorry if I didn't get around to all the drawing suggestions. There always end up being a few too many. But yeah, keep them in mind for next time. And yeah, thanks for some new people joining into the chat, into the stream. It's been a pretty weird, punchy one, but hopefully you managed to stick around and whatever. But yeah, thanks again. If you wanted to, I'll put the pictures all up on Patreon as I always do. But yeah, and if you're joining later on for some reason on YouTube, then yeah, thanks for watching after the fact. And yeah, you know, Patreon's there. I'm not going to push it too much, but if I I'm not getting anything on that. I'm not doing anything. So that's not a thing. That's a threat, but whatever. Maybe it is. Anyway, thanks again for staying with me the whole time. And I will catch you next time. Didn't get to any of yours next time. Yeah, sorry. Well, I'm working on your Patreon commission now, so that'll be up soon. So yeah, sometimes you got to share the love, but that'll be up soon and next time for sure. Okay, how do I stop this thing?